So what we're going to do right now is hop into a video about your commitment level in a relationship. So if you're in an existing relationship, what is your commitment level within that relationship? And if you're single, how committed are you to finding a really amazing person and then continuing to put work in after you've met them? And the reason why I want to talk about this today is because I get people, most of the time friends, wanting to have a discussion about something they're going through or whatever. But I also get people that are just on my friends list that I don't know, but they catch my videos and they want to talk about stuff. And I love that. Like I'm here for that, okay? But sometimes I get people that message me, they say, hey, I want to talk about X, Y, and Z. And when it comes time to talk about it, they disappear. And I think about why that is, because this shit is work, so when it comes time to discuss it, it's like you're validating the fact that you have a problem. So you're probably sweeping stuff under the rug in the meantime. And then once you have the answer to fixing it, now you're responsible for taking action with it, right? And that can suck, right? It's like chilling with your fit friend and they say, you probably shouldn't eat that fried food. And you say like, fuck, I know you're right, and then just eat it. And then you continue to, right? And because it's harder that way and it feels better to not have to deal with it, in the short term. So that's where we're at. So this week I had somebody message me, and it wasn't that long ago. They could end up messaging me tomorrow. I wouldn't know the difference, And by the way, if this is you watching this video, I'm here for this. Like, understand, if you messaged me in the past and we haven't talked, or if that was you this week and we hadn't talked, it's like, understand that this is my area of interest. Over the last year and a half, I've been putting this shit into place in my dating life, and now I'm in a relationship and I have, this place to put what I know into place in this relationship. So it's like an active study for me, like in terms of reading and in terms of actual practice. It's all relevant to me in my life, and that's what I'm sharing with other people, right? So I want to talk, like helping you with stuff helps me, and it helps me think about stuff, and it helps other people because this is the forum of this ongoing discussion about relationships, right? So feel free to reach out if that's you, or if you're juggling something. It's like, that's what I'm here for. Okay. So that's that. Having this discussion, this ongoing discussion about relationships, like, to me necessitates a forum for lots of people discussing shit, right? Because even though, you might not be an expert in relationships, you might not be, this person that dates all the time. You might not consider yourself some like super smooth guy, or you just might be a girl like in a relationship currently that you would like to see things go just a little bit better or more exciting or whatever, but you don't want to leave your partner, like all this stuff, right? And so each of us, even if we're not specializing in this shit, we each have our own lifespan of experience. We all do, right? And so every person has something to contribute. And that's why starting next week, I'm going to open up what's been a private group prior to this, as a public group. And it's going to be, it's going to be called Lover and a Fighter. And it's just going to be the public group, a free group, where it's just a forum for relationship discussion, So I'm here to address any concerns that you might have specifically in a private setting or whatever in a discussion. But also there's going to be the group, which is really just going to be another place for me to share my videos too, that I put on my personal profile, and also just a place for people to, talk back and forth, So a lot of times in business nowadays, you'll see people with their business, and then they have the community, their Facebook community, and that's what we're going to create. As of next week, anybody can just join. There's no monetary part to it or whatever. I am going to open up private coaching at some point, just where you can phone call in. We can talk about shit, whether you're in a relationship or whether you're single or whatever. But there's no obligation. I don't even really advertise for it. It's just something that exists on my own website, and the community is completely separate. It's just a place for people to hash out their shit. Okay, so you're going to see that happen, and I'll eventually share the link to that sometime next week for the Lover and the Fighter group, relationships discussion group. Okay, so that's on the horizon. But all this shit is funny. Like, so we're talking about relationships and the work that goes into it. So I'm talking with my new girlfriend Sabrina. And we talked about the honeymoon phase, and she said, hey, like in your last relationship, like how long did the honeymoon phase last for you? And I was like, you know what, like this is gonna sound really fucking weird, but in my last relationship, like the honeymoon phase for me lasted like a year straight. Like it really wasn't until, you know, very close to the end where I was like not feeling it. And that's what, you know, in having that situation and then losing it is what like kick-started me into researching all this relationship stuff and dating stuff, because I didn't want to feel that again. I didn't want to feel that loss, and then also feeling helpless of what to do like when problems start cropping up, right? Because you take two people, two individuals, they each have their own life and their own interests, you know, and you're creating this, you know, bond, but really it's just a label of boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or whatever. And, you know, that there's no physical bond between these two. You have to create this thing. And so how do you, you know, reconcile interests over the long term? Like you've got two separate people and yet you have to cooperate, etc. Right? And so I resolved to figure this shit out once and for all, because I had it and I lost it. You know, but we were talking about honeymoon phase, right? And she was like, you know what? Me too. Like when I have somebody, like that's a focus for me. And I think that's fucking awesome. Like you should never lose sight of that desire to connect to your partner. Like, yeah, you're gonna get to a place of the everyday norm, but think about this attitude of either giving in to the norm, right, and letting that be your new status quo, or the very artful use of distance and mystery injected into a relationship, you know, responsibly, right? Not like so much mystery that the other person's like wondering what the fuck you're up to, or right, or not so much distance that there's not a legitimate emotional connection between the two. But when you just start learning like what creates the fucking passion, right? Now you can employ the artful use of this stuff into your relationship, where now it's still fresh, right? Because think about it, a year is a long honeymoon phase, right? Most people's like 3 months, then it dies down. A fucking year. And I guess in her case, she's the same way. And I can notice, like, without going too much into detail about our new relationship, but like I can tell that we are two people that are putting a lot of effort into a relationship. And I think that's a really fucking cool thing. So imagine extrapolating that out over the long term, right? The use of distance and mystery and all the other things that comes into these topics that we discuss in my videos. You know, you put this long-term effort into it, right? You're putting long-term effort into your job. You're probably working out. You know, if you're putting effort into all areas of your life, you know, your relationship, like, you know, it's more than just a date a week, right? You could put a little bit more into it, and that's what this group is about. It's about, you know, people sharing tips to just become epic fucking couples. You know, that's my goal. Now you can use the videos that I put out or other people's videos to figure out how to pick up women and just have one night stands. If you want to, you can do that, you know, and that's a personal choice. And you know what? The women or men you might encounter for that, they might be down with that. Like, if you're all about casual sex and that's what you want, you can fucking do that. I don't judge that. And I honestly don't think anybody should judge that. We all have our own life to spend on this earth, you know, and it ends after a certain amount of time, you know. So it's like, who are we to judge what somebody does, as long as you're not hurting other people, with their 90 years? It's their 90 years. So I don't have an issue with you going out and using this stuff for that kind of stuff, as long as you're not lying to people and trying to manipulate them into this sexual situation that they would have never otherwise got into, right? But my goal for myself, and what I would imagine that a lot of people that would join this group would be having, you know, this fucking partner that you can have, where you can be open and free with each other, and you're both putting in work and you learn kind of what to do, and it's this thing that complements your life and is rewarding for you. It's like, it's a deep emotional connection, and your best friend that you go do everything with, not everything, but like do things with, and it's just this really fucking amazing part of your life. That's what I'm trying to create for myself, and that's what I want for the people in my group. But you don't have to be. You can just be there if you're into dating advice, like just casual, like whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's a discussion about how to come together. which includes all avenues, so dating, sex, etc. Okay, in relationships. Okay, so that's the group. We talked about what's your commitment level. We talked about the honeymoon phase, and the last thing is that this. Okay, so one thing about making a relationship a priority in your life is making it too much of a priority. This is the funny thing about that. So you've probably been in a situation in the past where you might have noticed other people where they make their significant other the number one thing in their life. And this, despite the strong feelings that we have in our heart, like when we meet somebody we're really interested in, is a fucking mistake. And you have this person right here who's dedicating his life to bringing people together, right? Telling you that can't be the number one priority in your life. Because if you read The Way of the Superior Man, and if you just notice in your own life's experience, when you put your partner as your number one priority, you're going to fuck yourself over and be resentful later, okay? But also you're going to lose the attractiveness of your partner. Okay, so what they're going to notice is that you're not doing things in your life and that you become too easy to manipulate, because we all do it subconsciously at some point. Like, we all have our own interests, and sometimes we're going to want some pushback from the other partner because we don't want to just have our fucking way and have a slave with our partner. Okay, and a lot of guys fall into this behavior because, women start to get the power over time, for probably a variety of reasons, but a man has to learn to kind of keep his own ground, okay? And part of doing that is making your life purpose the number one in your life, okay? So I wanted to attack that on the very end of this discussion where I'm telling you, like, a relationship should be a huge area of effort and priority in your life, and it can be rewarding. It can be this really fucking amazing thing, but don't make it the number one. Make it like the number two. And I say that with a caveat that your partner should feel like they're the most important person in the entire fucking world to you. No doubts about that. But your life purpose has to come first. And that is the only way, it's the only way that you're going to keep that person in your life, but keep them in your life as with the component of attraction. Right? Because if you want to, you can lock yourself into somebody for the next 60 years and be unhappy and just do the same shit every day and have really terrible missionary-only sex for the rest of your life if you want to fucking do that. But if you want to have an amazing fucking relationship where you're actually feeling the feelings and you're actually having great sex and you're actually going out and doing really epic shit together, you've got to do it artfully, which is what this group is about, okay? And you also have to put them as a second priority to your life purpose, also understanding that the reason you're doing your fucking life purpose is to probably earn some money and create really amazing opportunities to take your partner out and go create memories and just have a really fucking amazing life, okay? So that's what we want to talk about today. Check yourself on your commitment level. Join the group, guys. Look out for the link. Let's all have this discussion and take our fucking relationships and our dating life and all this stuff to the next level. See you there.